All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer, where we're taking a really urgent, highly focused look at, honestly, one of the most chaotic stretches the search industry has ever seen. Look, if you've been checking your digital metrics lately, you've probably felt a bit of a chill. The old rules of SEO, they're absolutely crumbling right in front of us. AI content is just exploding in ways the people selling it didn't even promise. Zero-click searches are literally eating organic traffic alive, and major publishers are sounding the alarm. So today, we're going to look at exactly what is breaking, and more importantly, how you can build a real survival guide for this entirely new search landscape using the actual data we have right in front of us.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, the zero traffic warning. 2, the AI content crash. 3, decoding Google's AI guide. 4, winning the product pack. 5, content that actually survives. And 6, your new SEO playbook. Let's just get right into the harsh realities here and start building your strategy. Section 1, the zero traffic warning. And look, I want to speak directly to anyone out there who's opened up their analytics dashboard recently and noticed their organic search traffic quietly, or, maybe very loudly, dropping. You are definitely not alone. The absolute top tier of the publishing industry is feeling these exact same tremors.
Just listen to this. Plan businesses as if search traffic were zero. Now, that is not from some panicked anonymous blogger, okay? That is Roger Lynch, the CEO of Condé Nast, the company behind Vogue, The New Yorker, Wired. He actually told his teams to budget as if search traffic simply will not exist. And what's really wild here is the context behind it. He doesn't think it's going to literally drop to zero tomorrow. But for 3 consecutive years, their internal forecasts underestimated the actual decline. Every single year, the search traffic fell way further than they predicted, so they're just bracing for the absolute worst.
The reason this is happening is something called the barbell effect. Lynch pointed out that the search results page has just fundamentally changed. What used to be maybe a couple of ads and 10 blue links is now a massive AI overview. Rows and rows of commerce listings, sponsored results. The organic links are just pushed entirely out of view. Because of this, only the extremes of the barbell are surviving. On one end, you've got these massive, deeply authoritative brands in major categories. On the other end, you've got tiny, hyper-loyal, paid niche publications. But if you're stuck in the middle, without that deep authority or a fiercely loyal direct audience, your organic path forward is basically dying.
Moving on to Section 2, the AI content crash. So what are the actual mechanisms causing these massive traffic drops? Let's take a look at the explosive, but honestly pretty deeply flawed AI content boom.
54%. Let that sink in for a second. This is a staggering metric from SEO analyst Lily Ray. She monitored over 220 websites that actually publicly identified themselves as customers of AI content creation platforms, and what she found should make any site owner stop and think. Across that whole data set, 54% of those sites lost 30% or more of their peak traffic. It's crazy. The typical pattern went like this: rapid page growth over maybe 6 to 12 months, a massive, exciting traffic spike, and then just a brutal crash that often left the site worse off than before they even started.
The real problem here isn't necessarily the AI tools themselves, it's the failing playbooks people are using with them. We're talking about those mass-produced VS comparison pages, generic what is X glossaries, totally brand promotional listicles, and these transparent FAQ farms designed just to get scraped by AI. The crucial thing to understand is that these templates might get you some short-term wins, sure, but when they're scaled up just for pure volume, without a real human expert reviewing the output or adding any actual value, Google eventually catches on. The days of winning by just flooding the internet with generic, AI-generated answers, those days are over.
All right, Section 3, decoding Google's AI guide. It's actually not all doom and gloom here. Google quietly published an official guide telling us exactly what matters for their new AI search, so let's decode it.
So Google relies on a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And this is actually highly reassuring. It means Google's AI overviews aren't some completely alien separate ecosystem. They are built directly on top of Google's existing core ranking systems, which means all your traditional SEO foundations, quality content, clear technical structure, a good page experience, they absolutely still matter. That is the bedrock the AI is pulling its answers from.
And this brings us to a really fascinating comparison. Google's guide explicitly tells us what technical fads we should just completely ignore and what we actually need to emphasize. So, ignore all that noise you hear about needing special LLMS.txt files or artificially breaking your text into chunks so the AI can read it better or doing these weird hyper-specific rewrites. Instead, Google says to emphasize creating content with a truly unique point of view. They want a genuinely satisfying user experience.
But above all, they want non-restated content. Think about it. If you're just using AI to summarize what's already sitting on the first page of Google, you are adding zero value, and you won't survive the AI filter.
Section 4, winning the product pack. Let's pivot over to the e-commerce sector for a minute, because in this new search landscape, these product packs are becoming a massive primary sales channel.
To really wrap our heads around this, we've got data from an analysis of over 63,000 merchants across a huge set of e-commerce keywords, and the findings are just wild. Google's product packs and those scrollable carousels, they aren't just a supplementary feature anymore. They are the primary purchase touchpoint. In some cases, search results are now squeezing up to 60 individual organic product listings onto a single page.
But here's where it gets super interesting. There is a massive gap between just being visible and actually getting clicks. Let's compare eBay and Home Depot. eBay actually shows up in product results for more total keywords than Home Depot does. But Home Depot generates nearly 9 times as much estimated traffic from their placements. Why? Because just showing up somewhere in a massive 60-item product pack is not enough. The visible, above-the-fold placements are what drive the actual clicks. If you're buried behind a scroll button, you might as well not even exist.
So how do you actually grab those highly visible above-the-fold spots? Well, it's not just about promotional discounting. The data actually shows no consistent relationship there at all. Instead, it comes down to high feed quality, deep category relevance, incredibly high image standards, and really strong review signals. And honestly, this is amazing news if you're a smaller specialist brand. It means if you have genuine, deep knowledge in your category and top-tier product feeds, you can literally beat the major retailers. This new channel completely rewards focus over sheer scale.
Which brings us to Section 5, content that actually survives. If those standard 10 blue links are vanishing, what kind of content actually makes it through? Let's turn this into some practical strategies.
We have to start with this really staggering reality check. Nearly 60% of Google searches now end without a click to any third-party website. Zero-click searches are basically eating the internet, and Google's AI mode is only going to push that percentage even higher. People are getting their answers directly on the search page and just leaving.
But SEO expert Cyrus Shepard reviewed hundreds of sites and actually identified 17 specific content types that still earn real visits in this zero-click era. Here's the top tier. Do you notice a pattern here? We're talking about owned audiences like email newsletters, transaction pages where a user actually has to complete a task, original research, in-depth reviews with actual first-hand testing, user-generated communities. These survive because they are proprietary, they are based on real human experience, and they are incredibly hard for an AI to just fake or replicate. Those generic guides and roundup listicles, those are at the absolute bottom of the barrel because an AI can summarize them in 3 seconds. The days of generic articles reliably ranking are just totally behind us.
And finally, Section 6, your new SEO playbook. Let's pull all these threads together. You've seen the warnings, you've seen the crashes, the new AI rules, and the winning content formats. Now, let's build your new playbook.
The absolute core takeaway from this entire explainer is right here. You have to build around what you own: your data, your experience, your audience. The era of relying on algorithmic generosity to just randomly send you traffic for generic content is done. You need to be building proprietary assets, whether that's an email list, genuine, hard-earned category authority, or your own original research. You have to create things that make a niche audience want to come back to you directly, completely regardless of what Google's algorithm decides it wants to do today.
I want you to really think about this for a second, because it's a bit provocative. If Google stopped sending you traffic tomorrow, what do you actually own? What is the true underlying stability of your digital business? It's a really tough question, I know, but it is literally the only one that matters in this new era.
Look, the path through all of this isn't panic, but it absolutely requires action. It requires a totally new way of thinking about search, about your content, and about the actual tangible value you provide to a reader. If you want to stay ahead of these massive industry shifts and truly master this new search landscape, I highly encourage you to take the next step and head over to serplabseo.com today. There's a whole world of in-depth strategy waiting for you right there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and just remember, if the algorithm turns off tomorrow, what are you left holding?